all the element called
Really, the way I began my creative journey was in music school, listening to some of the guys like The Fringe, being able to participate in some of that music and play with guys that were like-minded and that understood that really we were all figuring it out at the same time. We were all figuring out what it meant to improvise, and that's really kind of where it all began. As I grew as a musician, and as I started to realize improvisation was a lot more than playing a lot of fast notes and playing a lot of crazy stuff and with no real structure, I started to realize good, strong, top quality improvisation really is rooted in a disciplined approach to music. Well, in the work I do now, here we are 30 years later, and I design and produce large-scale events. And in those events, the principles are all the same. There's a lot of varied disciplines, but it is just that. It's a disciplined approach to your work. Often, when I get the opportunity to work with some of the same main players to design the big events that I do, I call them up and I say, hey, I'm putting the band back together. And we go, and we play, and we start to work it out, and we collaborate just the same way you do on a stand, but it might take a little longer. Maybe there's 2 or 3 months in where we're essentially working out the composition. We're working out the composition of the event. It's a temporary environment. The same way a night on the bandstand takes 2, 3, 4 hours, well, my events take 2, 3, 4 hours. And it's a night's worth of an experience for guests or for an audience. And the approach to it really begins with a little advanced planning, with a lot of trust in your colleagues and in the way that they approach what they do, and in that collaborative process. One of the big things I try to emphasize is that spirit of collaboration, because improvisation really is all about that, unless it's a solo gig, of course. But what I do is not a solo gig. What I do, the events are not a result of King Dahl and his genius. They're a result of King Dahl and the people he collaborates with and their combined genius. And that's kind of what makes it all so special.